Greetings and salutations, everyone. This is Otep Shemaya. This is my co-host, Brett Katinas. Brett, say hi.
Hello, everyone.
And this is the first episode of Molotov Cocktails, podcast of art and activism. We are, I guess, super woke, according to the MAGA Nazis on the other side. And if that offends you, good. If it doesn't, keep listening. And if it does offend you, keep listening. I guess the first thing that a lot of the fans have been asking about is why I decided to leave music. I think, honestly, it was a long time coming. If you followed my career in any, small sense, I'm the one that community loves to hate. Like, no matter what I did, no matter what I said, no matter what, if I said something that someone else had said similarly, or they said it after me, I would still get hated on. A lot of the promoters, a lot of the bands and their managers and their agents, they all had it out for me. And, I can say that I'm not playing a victim here. I'm a fucking warrior. I'm a survivor. I stayed in that toxic relationship of a genre for over 20 years, 9 albums, 2 EPs, 1 live album. So I put in my work. They didn't want me there, but I made an impact. Hell, I made a crater.
You did.
Thank you, brother. And I'm very, I can look for silver linings. It did give me, before this all happened to me, getting signed after 4 or 5 shows, playing as a local band on Los Angeles on the Sunset Strip to get signed to Capitol Records with no demo, getting discovered by Sharon Osbourne at the Roxy here in LA, being asked to perform Ozfest with before we were ever signed. And I want to take a second just to give much love to the Osbourne family, Sharon, Jack, Ozzy, Kelly. You guys changed my life. Send you so much love for your loss. Ozzy was an incredible human being and did so much for new artists like me. They gave me an opportunity. I was the first female on that lead singer that had played during that time period. I know there were other bands with females in them, but nobody was doing what I was doing, and I'll stand 10 toes down on that. So it was like leaving a toxic relationship. It was hard. It wasn't an easy decision to make, but I think I had come to the point where it just wasn't fulfilling anymore, and I wasn't going to fake it. And that's one thing that I always had promised fans, that I just wasn't going to fake it ever. This was never like a money making scheme for me to go out and like pretend I was somebody else so that I could sell records, sell merch, and make money. It was always about me being authentic and hopefully inspiring other people to be authentic. But I will just say that, again, much love to Sharon, Jack, Kelly, and the rest of the family and all their friends and fans for their incredible loss. Anything you want to add to that?
You just said it yourself with how you started this crater, and unfortunately, you creating the crater got the hate you did, which is why it's so, when you had the lyrics, I am the one that they love to hate, and your song Down on Generation Doom, it perfectly fits it, but
it encapsulated like everything that I'd been going on. And it started like from the beginning. Like it really did. Just backstage, I thought I was going to be, when I first got to Ozfest, I thought I was going to be surrounded by artists and thinkers and people who were, in it for the right reasons. And it really was just a big frat party. I mean, without the frat. I mean, it was just people just getting high, getting drunk, getting groupies, and it was really disappointing. And so that sobered me up pretty quickly to the idea of like, well, this is the world I'm entering into. And then, to find out like, I was never a professional artist before this. I never was a singer. I didn't take choir. I didn't take vocal lessons. I never learned to play an instrument, like from like classic, trained or anything. It was just me learning as I went along, and trying to learn from my mistakes, trying to inspire other people, and I hope I did that. And that's if I can have any sort of lasting impact on this on the music then industry, especially that particular genre, was hopefully to inspire people to be authentic. I hope I've done that.
As a fan, I can say with certainty that you did do that, especially when considering our political climate today and consistently seeing people on your band's social media page be like, we need you now more than ever.
Yeah.
Like,
well, exactly. Like where y'all been? I mean, I've been doing it since 2002. And so that's always a little bit frustrating when people are like, we need you now. And I'm just like, well, I've been doing this. I've written songs from from my first album to my last album that were either socially or politically charged and speaking up for the voiceless, trying to give a voice to the voiceless, speaking up for marginalized groups, those who are on attack, and especially now where we find ourselves socially, culturally, and politically. I understand why people want somebody to speak up and do those things, but I also felt like I've given enough of myself through music in that genre to lay out a foundation of how people should respond to tyranny and to fascism, to racism, homophobia, sexism, misogyny, and just all the things that make up the rotten corpses of bigots. And I think that I think that I did well with, or at least I tried to do well with making people understand that, we are exclusively inclusive as long as you're not a fascist or a neo-Confederate or a neo-Nazi or a MAGA moron or any of that shit. Like we tried to bring in like people that normally would not be welcomed or didn't think that they were welcomed at aggressive music shows. Now we're faced with an administration that, again, I think the election was stolen. I believe that 100%. Admitted it like 6-7 times, and so did that fucking Leon Musk. I mean that fool. But now we have an administration that is hell bent on hiding the fact that the dude in the Oval Office is on the Epstein list, which means that he is a nonce, that he has a predilection to young children, girls, and he's doing everything in his power to make sure that he keeps us distracted. He's a chaos agent. His whole administration are chaos agents. None of them are worthy of being in the positions that they hold, and that's the reason why he did it. I mean, it's a playbook right out of World War II. If anybody cares to ever look at history, you'll see. But now you've got them doing away with the LGBTQ helplines for people who are, young kids or young people or just people who feel like that they're under duress and they need someone to talk them down from doing something horrible, like not existing anymore or not feeling like they have a place in this world. And he's just going to do away with it because why? Because he's cruel, and that is the key. Cruelty is the mission. It is to beat us down every single day with trying to help destroy other marginalized communities. With first there was an Epstein list, then there wasn't an Epstein list, and now the Democrats have petitioned the Department of Justice, and now they're turning over the Epstein list. And then what happens? The orange dude, Cheeto Schindler, goes on and moves Maxwell, who was Epstein's little plaything, who was like his fisherman.
Person.
Absolutely. Women, young models who are trying to make it in the industry by telling them that, yes, of course, we're going to do that. And then, oh, by the way, Cheeto Schindler owns a modeling agency. He also owned the Junior Miss America pageants. And he admitted on walking in on young women. And these people in this country who would allegedly claim that they would harm someone who ever harmed their child now support this guy, and they're making excuses for him. Oh, well, 14's not that young. And what are you talking about? Who are we? People, and that's the other thing that I definitely want to bring up is that, people say that this isn't America, this isn't how we are. Then you've not studied history, because this is exactly who we are. We are a country that was invented by rich wine snobs who didn't want to pay taxes to the King of England, even though we were colonies. And they wrote this whole Declaration of Independence and Bill of Rights, all this stuff. And meanwhile, all men are created equal. Yeah, all men, all white men, all white landowning men, all white rich landowning men, not women, not people of color. Sorry, not black people, not black folks, not indigenous folks, not the people that actually lived on this continent before Europeans ever came and colonized it. It's frustrating to me because we've seen worse things happen in this country. We had a civil war,
Yeah.
One part of the country was trying to overthrow the United States government. And yet we still, instead of passing laws that would ban that stupid fucking bars and stars flag from ever being flown like they did in Germany. Germany, you can't fly the Nazi flag. It's illegal. Instead of hanging every Confederate general and every willing Confederate soldier in public spaces and taking photos for postcards so that, like, literally never again, this is what happens to traitors in our country. Nah, we gave them money to rebuild the land instead of turning it over to the enslaved people like we should have. We should have turned them plantations over to them people. And we should have given them reparations. I believe in that. Reparations for indigenous folks too.
100% agree with you.
Concentration camps in this country, right? We had them during World War II, mostly for Japanese Americans who were born here. And now we've got them building in Florida, and there's other places they want to build them because they're racially profiling around up brown people. Doesn't matter if they're legal or not, or they're migrant or not. You know, it's hard for me to say legal because, like, I don't believe anybody's illegal on stolen land except for Europeans, people that look like me, people who look like you, melanin deficient folks. You know, and then you've got this jackass who's supposed to be this big tough guy, and I don't get it. I don't understand. He's bald. He wears the worst toupee in the world. He colors his face orange. He wears more pancake makeup than any drag queen I've ever seen in my life. He wears a diaper, literally shits himself, and people bow and cow to this dude and kiss his fucking loafers like he's like a super villain or something with like superpower, like he's Satan himself or something. Like what? He's 80-year-old dude who shits himself, like literally wears a diaper and shits himself and allegedly has a catheter as well. So he's like totally incontinent. He's falling apart. And you see him inviting the leader of Russia to Alaska, which is, we took that from them, right? We bought that from them. That's ours. Russia's always said they want it back. He said he was going to open up the mineral rights to Russia, which I don't think he can do. That'll be up to congressional scholars to let me know, or constitutional scholars to let me know. But the fact is, he had our military, our soldiers, on their knees rolling out the red carpet for this.
But when Zelensky comes around, he wants to complain he's not dressed appropriately for him.
I mean, it's just, and then the fact that he let Putin into the beast, is what the presidential car is called, where it's like, obviously you're letting a foreign enemy, he's our enemy. Literally, Russia is our enemy. Putin is our enemy. Lets him inside that car. That car is supposed to be a secret, so that you don't know how to disable all the functions that keep the president safe. Then he took him for a tour on our military base, the leader of a country that is our enemy. Why? Well, probably because this guy he's got compromise on him. He's got materials. I mean, you can even see in the body language. Putin was smiling ear to ear, and an old Cheeto Schiller was like slumped over, like, you know, he just got it, you know, just somebody just stole all his toys or something. And speaking to those concentration camps, I mean, they're building one. They built that one in Florida, Alligator Alcatraz, which really it should be like Alligator Auschwitz. And for what? To put people in there to do what? Why aren't they shipping them back? Why? Because they want them for free labor?
Or the fact that he went to El Salvador's president's like, you should build 5 more so we can send our homegrown people who don't like me over to you guys.
And they actually did that. These gravy seals who are pretending to be federal agents, which it's ridiculous because, again, I come from a family of military and law enforcement. I'm looking at these dudes who don't even know how, like, they don't even have, like, they're not even dressed right. Like one dude, I saw this one video where, and literally the dude said, liberals ruined this country. One of the Ice Ages. Yeah, one of the Ice Ages said that. And he's not. He's probably a militia guy. He's just or he's a bounty hunter. I mean, the dude, I saw him in the video. Like you see him like busting somebody up. One of the funniest things about that video is one of the guys, while he was trying to wrestle their victim down, hit his head on the concrete and probably gave himself a concussion because he was like, I'm not all right. I'm hurt. I'm not all right.
That was hilarious.
It was. And the other dude's like pulling his pants up because, the pants is too, he's having his belly's like hanging over his pants. He can't even hold his pants up. I mean, I just don't understand what the fuck we're doing in this country. You know, they've already gone after, Roe v. Wade. Now marriage equality's on the docket next. And then what's going to be
Kim Davis.
Yeah, Kim Davis, who's been married like 4 or 5 times. Yeah, the sanctity of marriage is so important to these conservative Christians. It's ridiculous. And I guarantee you, if marriage equality is on the docket and they overturn marriage equality, then interracial marriage is next. They're going to go after Loving versus United States, which is what gave, I mean, imagine that we actually had to go to the Supreme Court so that 2 people of different races could marry legally, federally. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's just, and that's where they want to take us back to. You know, when they talk about make America great again, make America great for who? Exactly. Women? Wrong. We didn't get the right to vote till 90s, and women couldn't even open up checking accounts until the 70s and 80s without a male chaperone, without a male cosigner, husband, brother, father, whatever. Like, why? And then you have all these women like supporting the Roe versus Wade abortion ban. And then I look at it and I'm saying, like, where in this country are there any laws against male reproductive
rights?
That's right. Yeah, where? There's none.
No.
It's exactly like when there's a serial rapist on the loose. They don't tell the men to stay inside. They tell the women to stay inside. Well, why would you do that? Why is the onus always on the woman? Because we are a very sexist society. That's why. So if a rapist is on the loose and you say all men have to be in the curfew at 8 o'clock, then the guy that's running around after curfew is probably probably the rapist. He's probably the assailant. But instead, it's the women. It's the same thing with reproductive rights. A dude, if he's virile enough, can go out. He can get a woman pregnant, 3-4 women pregnant a week. And a woman can only have a baby once a year. But yet, she's the one that's the problem. She's the one. Again, we live in this backwards world, and it's always been this way. The problem is, and I'll paraphrase President Biden because I'm not going to say it the way he did. We've never reached our promised capacity, but we've never walked away from it either. And I love that quote because, yes, we've never reached our promised capacity, but we've never walked away from it either. And I'm hoping that we stay the course. Luckily, we've got Gavin Newsom, the governor of my state, who is just doing a marvelous job of trolling the shit out of Cheeto Schindler, and also putting on the ballot that we will do what Cheeto Schindler's doing and trying to do in Texas. Give me 5 seats. Dude wanted 11,000 votes last time he lost. Now he's like, give me 5 seats so that he doesn't lose the congressional midterms. Because if we retake Congress, if Democrats, liberals, progressives, Americans, not MAGA, retake Congress, then his presidency is over. It is over. It's done. And everybody that's in his cabinet is done. So that's why it's really important for Californians to get out and vote. And I understand that other states are joining that as well.
Yes. New York, I read, Maryland, Wisconsin, Illinois on the side of the left. I've also seen Ohio, Missouri, Florida possibly doing the same redistricting to counteract with those on the right. So many states apparently are trying to do this because this orange asshole wants to just go through with his dictator. He's trying to be a dictator, which he promised to do.
Yeah. I mean, he never hit it. He never said, I'm not going to do this. He's like, this is what I'm going to do. The only thing that's pissing off his supporters right now is the fact that he's lying about the Epstein files because he's in it. And then
100%.
when it hit them that, oh, he's probably going to be in it, then they started switching it up. I saw a video of like an interview of looked like a middle-class couple. And they said something like, well, if our daughter, who's 14, was lucky enough to be around a bunch of billionaires, I hope she'd send us some money home. Like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? You are you're okay pimping out your own daughter as long as they pay you? I mean, again, this is the darkness, the evil spirit of this country, that keeps rearing its very hideous head. And then we got to play whack-a-mole right now with this chaos agent. He deployed the National Guard in L.A. He sent Marines here to guard the federal buildings where allegedly they were holding these people that they kidnapped off the street. And now he's deployed the National Guard to D.C.
Which is hilarious because, like, the U.S. attorney in D.C. stated, I think it was in April, he was congratulating Trump on his first 100 days and says the violent crime in D.C. dropped 25%. Well, if it dropped 25% in that first 100 days, why the fuck do you need to send the National Guard to D.C.?
Exactly. It's a ruse. It's all a lie. He wants it there because he's trying to normalize this so that he can start deploying military assets all around the country. Now, the problem that he has is Germany is about the size of New Jersey or something, or Nevada. I mean, it's a small country. His idol could do that. He could deploy military people all around. America's too fucking big. And plus we've got blue states with very strong governors, and they're not going to take that up either. So I don't know if he's trying to lock himself in the White House. That's what it looks like to me.
Yes, I would agree.
But just going back to like the cruelty of this man and how mean he is. He's not tough. He's mean. But that's usually the sign of a narcissist. It's like, yeah, they act mean, but they're not fucking tough. So the fact that we had an assassination of Democratic state lawmakers and her husband and her dog. The dude didn't say, Cheeto Schiller didn't say one word about it. Did he send in the National Guard there? Did he send in? I mean, what did he do? And we're not even talking about it anymore. Where's the killer? Where's he at? And if we want to talk about all that, we can also talk about, why did they burn the body of the guy that allegedly tried to assassinate him? And, again, I think all that shit was fake. I don't know what happened, but there's no way that dude, you can't grow ear cartilage back. Just look at Evander Holyfield. He just can't. But again, him pardoning J6ers. There's my dog. He's saying hi, everybody. He's pardoned the J6 rioters, but yet he talks about crime, punishment, being back in the blue. Those people assaulted and they murdered police officers. They tried to storm the Capitol and take it over, and then those are his people, because he does not care. He does not care about America. He wants to turn this into Trumpistan. He doesn't care about it. And then you have people like his Pete Keggs, who's reposting videos from a conservative pastor who says that women shouldn't have the right to vote unless they vote in line with their husband's beliefs. Otherwise, they shouldn't do it. This is like a very, very powerful person in our government who's reposting conservative, Christian, white nationalist bullshit.
It's all out of the Project 2020.
That's right. And I mean, they want to repeal the 19th Amendment, taking away women's right to vote, because they know without the women's right to vote, without women voting, they lose every time. The gerrymandering too, that they will lose every time. And if we're successful, California's successful, and if other states join in, he's done. He's cooked. Stick a fucking fork in him. So, just thinking about how the hypocrisy of him and his followers and everybody in that organization. Go ahead.
I was going to say, because you brought up about how they are with the Epstein file, but now it's, well, if my daughter was 14 and she got to go to Mar-a-Lago, or she got to go to Epstein Island, good for her. It's like, but during 2016 with Pizzagate at the Ping Pong Pizzeria, really trying to burn it down.
A man literally walked in with, and I think it was an AR-15, probably, it's always an AR-15, walked in with an Arvid fucking rifle and fired into the ceiling, demanding to see the basement where he thought that children were being abused and trafficked and sexually assaulted. And now he's got a whole army of these people who support this pedophilia, who want to lower the age of marriage and consent to 14. I mean, it's just, and again, I understand, we've had rougher times in this country, but we've overcome them. But Martin Luther King's famous saying, the arc of justice is long, right? But we eventually get there. But we're not going to get there if people remain complicit. Complicity and silence equals emboldenment. You're emboldening the Trump administration. You're emboldening people that are like him. You're emboldening Kristi Noem. I mean, what's up with that fucking weirdo chick? She killed her fucking dog, and people respect this woman. It's just ridiculous. And then you got people like Kim Davis. And I don't know if any of y'all remember Kim Davis, but she looks like a trad wife. She looks like she's right off of like a compound somewhere in Utah. She's been married 4 times. Yes, she wants to undo marriage equality. She doesn't want gay people to marry. Why? Why are you so unhappy? Because you look like you're out of, like, we're born in like 1880 or some shit. Like, what's wrong with this crazy ass lady?
It's everyone that chooses to still follow this fucking man.
Well, and they cherry pick the Bible, right? It's all based on their religious beliefs. Well, this isn't we're not a theocratic country. We're not Israel. We're not Iran. This is not a country that is based on an ethnicity that was the whole idea of the experiment of America, where we were supposed to be a melting pot and we were supposed to invite everyone in. I mean, give me your troubled, give me your huddled masses, right? That's the poem written to liberty. Yeah. But then you have these folks that are cherry pick their religion in order to justify their own bigotries, their own pettiness, their own Karenness. I spell that with 3 Ks, by the way. And I saw this video today, and I posted it today on social media about Christopher Hitchens, who I had a sort of, when he was alive, I liked him and I didn't like him at the same time, but he was a brilliant thinker. And one of the things that he said in this interview that I saw was that if human beings did not use God to perpetuate their evil, then it would just be human beings being evil. But if you say God wants you to do it, God wants you to own slaves, it's in the Bible. Then you're like, oh, well, okay, God wants me to own slaves. I got to own slaves. God doesn't want women to vote. God doesn't want women to speak in public. God wants women to cover up. Or otherwise, it's just some dude like, I don't want women to vote. I mean, so they use the hypocrisy. They cherry pick these holy scriptures that are over 2,000 years old to justify what is happening in a modern society. And it's, again, we have to combat that with not being silent, not being like just ignoring them. We have to banish these people from society. Let them go live on their compounds. Let them go live in some red state and do whatever they want and all that stuff. But they cannot federalize this. They should not be able to do it, and we cannot allow it to happen. And that's what's happening now with by the way,
process.
No due process, just snatching folks up who are trying to work. Like they're like in Los Angeles, they're not going to East Los. They're not going to East Los Angeles and snatching up gangbangers and all this bullshit. They're going to Home Depot where people are trying to work. They're showing up at car washes where people are working. And the thing that makes me so angry is that most of these racist, idiot, fucking white people, and it makes me angry because, again, white is a word, it's a propagandist word used to unite everyone that's melanin deficient. But when we first came here, I'm Irish, you're Greek. When we first came here, we weren't considered white. We were considered Irish and Greek. And people that came over here, that colonized this country from Europe, brought all their old biases and bigotries towards the Irish, towards the Scottish, towards the Greeks. I mean, towards everybody, towards the French, towards the British. I mean, it was not this like, we're all white, so we should all get along. No, they used that. I think it was, I'm paraphrasing here, but I think it was LBJ that said, if you can convince the poorest white man that he's superior to any black man, he'll empty his pockets for you. And that is true. And that was back, after JFK was assassinated. So these aren't new things, right? These are this whole, I think this whirlwind of evil has been around for a long time. And every now and then we get to blow it back into the fucking atmosphere. But when you have people that don't pay attention, when we have the population dumbing themselves down, willingly dumbing themselves down, eagerly stupid, invincibly ignorant, then we are destined to be ruled by our inferiors. And right now we are definitely being ruled by our inferiors. I mean, you have these idiot ICE agents who they're not trained law enforcement. They're either bounty hunters or they're former militia. I can tell just by the way they wear their kit, their gear, everything. They're just sloppy, messy looking folks. And if they're so proud to work for this country, they're so proud to do what they're doing, why are they covering up? These are the same motherfuckers who wouldn't wear a mask during a global plague, COVID.
You stole the words right out of my mouth. I was about to say that.
But now they're doing it. And they put out some bullshit about like, oh, well, if you sign, there's a $50,000 signing bonus and we're going to get rid of all of your student loans or some shit like that. That doesn't apply to new recruits. You idiots didn't read the fucking fine print. It only applies to those that were already working there and re-signed up. They're even fucking over their own people. And you know what? These people are so shitty that if you gave them, if Trump and his cronies gave them a big heaping pile of bullshit and said it was chocolate pudding, those motherfuckers would eat it and ask for more and lick the fucking spoon. Nom, 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 nom. So,
sir, may I have another?
Please, sir, may I have another? So, you've got ICE agents who are stealing people off the streets without due process, not going to a judge. They don't have a warrant signed. And listen, remember that. You do not have to open your door if they show up at your door. If they do not have a warrant that is signed by a judge, a judicial warrant, they may have a warrant in their hands, but if it's not signed by a judge, then do not open your door. And anybody that is not being targeted by ICE, which usually means like white folks, right? The melanin deficient folks, then it's very happy. I'm very grateful to see so many people getting involved. In Los Angeles, we had 50, 60,000 people marching. And then you had social media who was suppressing it. So we were calling them music festivals instead of protests. And it went on for a whole week. And mainstream media didn't even pick it up because they're all flown by billionaires and they're all just licking the loafers of Cheeto Shitler. Shit runs downhill, so y'all are licking more than that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's running down his legs. But then you have this TikTok influencer, and I don't really care about influencers very much, but she did nothing wrong. All she did was she was showing up wherever ICE was and videoing it, and they ripped her out of her car and pushed and threw her to the ground and they knocked her out cold. She had to be taken to the emergency room, all because they didn't like the fact that she was documenting their illegal activities. I still think it's an illegal activity. I don't understand. Like, again, if we're talking, we can go back to the hypocrisy of like the Second Amendment fucking folks. Y'all talked about everybody talking about, oh, if the government ever becomes tyrannical, you know, the blood of, what is it? The blood of patriots feeds the tree of, you know, whatever. Like, where are y'all? Yeah, except if it's a Democrat. If it's a Democrat or a liberal, that's it. So, you know, go ahead.
I was just going to say, because going back to the TikTok influencer, the DHS Assistant Secretary, Tricia McLaughlin's like, well, she got arrested because, you know, she's an illegal alien and she had a DUI a few years ago, so that's why we arrested her. No, you didn't. That's a bullshit excuse.
It's absolutely, yeah. Whatever they can think of, whatever they can fucking think of. I mean, and we've seen an increase in police brutality, which is wild because we had a whole lot during his first regime, and now it's even gotten worse. And, you know, we're seeing, thanks to body cams and thanks to citizens showing up in their community and videoing it, we're actually able to see it. Whereas before, I mean, imagine what happened before body cameras, you know, and most people who gave Vice President Harris so much shit about things, oh, she's a cop, she was a cop, she was a cop. So she was an attorney general for for the state of California, and she worked inside the system to help better the system. She was the first attorney general to demand that all cops in California wear body cameras. And the fact that people were like, well, I didn't like the way she laughed. Oh, but what? You like this? You like this better? What's wrong with y'all? And like, I'm so frustrated with good, like, Americans. Like, some of them are giving Gavin Newsom shit because he, you know, his team are like mocking Trump by doing the all caps and basically using his stupid little language like, I'm the greatest president ever and everybody says it's the best bill ever. You know, they're making fun of him, but like, that's what we have to do. You know, Michelle Obama said, well, if they go low, we go high. Not anymore. Because we're not dealing with those kind of folks. You know, they're in the mud, we got to get in the mud. They're in the sewer, we got to get in the sewer. And we got to fight them with everything that we have, with the same type of weaponry and the same type of vitriol and the same type of tactics that they use to convince and, I don't know, I guess, push forward their agenda by making their racist, bigoted, homophobic, transphobic, whatever, sexist, misogynistic, all that shit, like, to feed them just a little bit, like, yes, you can be racist. Yes, you can be homophobic. Yes, you can be transphobic. Yes, you can be a bigot. Yes, you can do all these things. But we're going to do all this other shit too that'll probably end up hurting you economically. And that's the greatest thing that anybody ever did in this country. And I'm sure it's happened in other countries too, but I'm an American, so I'm talking as an American. But to make the economic classes not focus on, maybe we're not the same culturally in some ways, but we're all in the same boat economically, yes. But they don't want us to think about that because then that means that we'll start focusing on the folks that are actually taking the power. Like, why are they rounding up the people that are allegedly undocumented, but not the people that are hiring them knowing they're undocumented? And that's the other thing that fucking pisses me off. Like, they're not attacking those folks because those are the rich folks that give them all the money and lobbyings and all that shit. But the other thing that these racist assholes who support these kidnappings, that support these illegal deportations without due process, don't realize that most of the folks that come here who are undocumented have a social security number. They pay taxes into the American budget, but they don't get anything back for it. They're subsidizing these racist assholes' lifestyles by just simply working hard for a living and making sure their families have a better life. It's so goddamn frustrating. And, you know, go ahead, man.
I was going to say, I saw it was the Taxation Institute Economic Policy 22 undocumented immigrants put in like $67 billion in taxes, and they're not going to see a dime of that.
They don't get tax returns, but they paid in $60 billion into the American economy, and they don't get paid shit. They don't even get paid minimum wage, but they're picking our food. They're growing our food. They're washing our cars. They're fucking building our houses. And yet these people want to try to take it away from them because what? You just don't like them? You brought the cartels here. My ass, they're not going after the cartels. They're not. They're afraid. They pulled up on some cartels and cartels would unload on them motherfuckers. And these gravy seals ain't going to be able to do nothing because most of them are out of shape. And anyway, they'll run like 10 feet and fall over, trip over their own fucking shoelaces. But anyway, so just am angry, obviously. I'm also very proud of the fact that we're starting to see more community involvement, more people standing up, but we need to see it nationally. We need to see it. And I do see pockets in different places, but we need to see that increase. We need to see it. And people have got to start paying attention. And again, I'm going to give my governor, Gavin Newsom. I don't agree with him on everything. I didn't agree with President Biden on everything. I didn't agree with President Obama on everything. But that doesn't mean that it's a non-starter. We have, as Democrats and as liberals, we have to, and progressives, we have to stop being purists.
That's the problem.
That is the problem. And we got to change that because the other side does not give a goddamn if they pass a purity test or not. They just got to say like 3 things. God's, guns, gays. Bum, you're done. That's it. Or maybe abortion now, that's it. They don't care that the dude's a pedophile. They don't care that he hangs out with pedophiles. They don't care that people in his fucking administration are pedophiles. They don't care that he's misusing our brave women and men in the United States military for his own secret police. They don't care. So we have to stop.
They don't care that he's a felon.
They don't care that he's a fucking 30. They're talking about criminals in this country. Around criminals, there's one right there. Hey, ICE, go grab him. Go grab him. 34 felony counts right there. He's also a convicted rapist. He's right there. And his his mother, Cheeto Schiller's mother was illegal. If we want to use their terminology. She was, and he's an anchor baby because she married his father who was in the Klan and it was super racist. He's an anchor baby. And then all his other, except for Tiffany with Marla, all his other kids are anchor babies. His first wife, she wasn't an immigrant. She was an immigrant. She didn't get her American citizenship till much later, but her kids were born. They want to take away anchor babies now. They want to take away birthright citizenship now. Melania, Barron, same fucking thing, but they don't care. Again, we have to stop as Democrats and as progressives. We have to stop being purists. As long as that our leaders, the ones we want to elect, are focused on the Constitution of the United States and moving us closer to our promised capacity of liberty, equality, equity, and justice for all, we can work on the other things that we don't like. President Obama, when he was a state senator, was for marriage equality. When he went into the federal system, then he was like kind of iffy on it. Then he was president. He was still iffy on it. It wasn't until Vice President Joe Biden bucked basically the administration's statements on these things and said love is love and people deserve, if they're in love, they deserve to be married. It was Joe Biden that said that. Again, go ahead, man.
But to also show your consistency with what you just said, in your music video for Rise, Rebel, Resist, you did call out Obama for his stance on marriage equality at that time.
Thank you.
Because you called him out.
Yes, I did. And I called out Joe Biden about Merrick Garland. I thought Merrick Garland, even though he had he prosecuted the Oklahoma City bomber. He prosecuted the Unabomber. He had a stellar record. And sometimes these institutionalists, they don't want to buck the system. They don't want to change anything, or they don't want to screw up their record. We needed a hungry pit bull in that just a hungry wolf, just in that position that was like, I don't give a damn this is unprecedented. We've never had a convicted felon running for president. That also tried to incite treason with J6 in our country. We never had that before. So it is unprecedented. So we have to do the unprecedented thing of convicting this fool. And now we have the opportunity again coming up. And I just want to make sure that we do that because we have to stop with the purity test. Listen, there are certain things that, like if Gavin Newsom runs for president, I have some issues with him, even though as California, we are the 4th largest economy in the world. And that is compared to other nations, not other states. We are the 4th largest economy in the world. We're the most densely populated state in the world. That takes a lot to be able to govern all of that. Now, there are certain cultural issues that I take issue with him on, but are they big enough for me to say, I'm not going to vote for him? No, they're not, because he will bring us back to some normality. And sadly, even though we claim to be this very educated and intellectual class of progressives and Democrats, but we're not really ready for a woman. We're not ready for a black woman. We're not ready for a white woman. We're not ready for a gay candidate, Pete Buttigieg. We're not. So unfortunately, Maybe we'll end up getting there someday. I'd love to see a Native American president one day. They deserve it. It's their fucking land. But until we can get past all that, then yeah, it's just unfortunate. We're going to have to get a cis guy in there as long as he's qualified. Right now, Gavin Newsom seems to be running the lead on that, and I think he deserves it. He's the tip of the spear on everything. Although I do want to mention one other person who's been standing up for this country and standing up right and living in a red state is Jasmine Crockett. I love Jasmine Crockett. I give her all the flowers, everything, because she's been standing up to the Republican Party, to Marjorie Three Toes. She's been standing up to them and making it known that this will not stand. As long as she has that her seat, as long as she's in there, she's going to make sure that she's going to fight for the American people, and I respect that. Do I agree with everything that she does? No. But again, that's my point. We don't have to have, we need to stop with the fucking purity test, and we need to just back the people that we agree with. We agree with the majority of their beliefs. We agree with the majority of their candidacy and their platform. Just like everything else. Like you and I don't agree on everything, Brett, and you and I have known each other for a long time. I don't agree with everything with my parents, with my siblings, with my best friends, with my lovers. Like, I don't agree with them on everything. It's not like, this isn't a popularity fucking contest. This is about who can do the job right.
Exactly.
It ain't this orange motherfucker in the fucking White House right now. In fact, it's going to take somebody that really knows what they're doing to undo everything this fool has done. Luckily, we had Joe Biden. I don't care what anybody says. If you just look at his accomplishments, the best president, first term president in the nation's history. And he luckily got so much, he undid so much of what Cheeto did on his first regime. Unfortunately for President Obama, we had 8 years of George W. Bush. So it took him a lot longer to undo what George W. Bush did by pushing our country off a cliff into a recession, or almost basically a recession, almost it was a recession, almost a Great Depression. Yeah, you're right. So I just want to make sure that, like, everybody's listening. Yes, we need more art. Yes, you want me to speak. Yes, you want me to write more political songs, and then you don't. You want me to, and then you don't. Why is she always so political? I've always been political. I've always been cultural. I've always spoken up for those that needed it the most, and those people are usually my people, because I grew up super poor. I grew up in a working class, still have family in a working class, and I still speak out for them. I'm a union member. I support unions, except for the policemen's union, but fuck all that. That's for another episode. But I think that it's important that we stop with these purity tests. We start listening. We start looking at the bigger picture and understand that if you do not vote, if you sit things out, if you stay silent, if you are complicit during these very, very dangerous times, then you will end up being ruled by your inferiors, and they will come for you eventually. That's what happens in these kinds of. They'll come after artists. They'll come after activists. They'll come after women. They're going to come after everybody that they think is the next thing that will distract you from the fact that Cheeto Schindler's bank account grows daily, how much money he's making off this country. I mean, the dude has 3 Air Force One planes. One of them was a gift from Qatar, or Qatar, depending on, if you know how to say it. It's Qatar. But the fact is, like, they gave a plane that's not even going to be ready till after he's out of office, but he gets to keep it as his personal plane. How is that even? We have laws and regulations against this kind of shit, but the reason why we can't do anything is because right now we have all 3 branches of government, which are supposed to be equal. There's no pyramid here. Nobody sits at the top. It's 3 co-equal branches of government. All three are conservative. All 3 are Christian conservatives. All 3
they're held hostage by conservatives.
Well, I don't. Who's held hostage?
I think the fact that we have this with him, with Trump being able to do the things he's been able to do, the fact that now when Obama was in office and they intentionally kept him from filling a Supreme Court seat because we got a year to the election.
That's deliberate, though, dude. That's not held hostage. The American people are being held hostage, not Congress. Congress is willingly going against it. Mike Johnson who lives with, he has an adopted black kid that he never talks about, and he lives with him while he's in D.C., which is weird. I don't know if that's a houseboy or if that's his lover. I don't know what the fuck it is, but anyway, it's weird. And these people are actively doing what Cheeto Schindler wants them to do. The only people that are being held hostage in this country are people like us who don't believe in this idiot. still am stunned by the fact that people are afraid or lick the loafers of an 80-something-year failure who's always failed upwards, who literally shits himself. He has a diaper on. Now, I understand other people have these kind of problems, but fuck that.
He can't walk straight on top of it.
No, he's got, and there's claims about him having, some sort of like syphilis from back in the old days. I mean, it's just the dude, like, anyway, my point is we have to stop looking at the candidates that are going to be representing us for some sort of purity test as long as they hit all the marks. The other things the smaller things that are like on the lower tier, we can work those things out. But as long as they are devoted to the Constitution and devoted to progressing us as a country towards our promised capacity, that's who we should be supporting, and that's what we should be doing. And the rest of in the meantime, we need to be out educating folks. We need to be out in them streets, letting them see us, and we need to be fighting back in numbers. And we need to banish and shame every single one of the people that we know is either a part of it, supports them, works for him. If you found out your uncle works for ICE, then you should let people know. Let them know, and then cut them out of your life. That's the only way if we banish them, if we exile them to the edges of our society, that is the only way that we're ever going to have bleached bacteria in this country. That's the only way.
100% agree.
That's what we have to do. We got to start doing it now. So warriors, disruptors, I'm calling on all of you. Fucking stand up. Be tough. Be America. What are you? Like, we talk all this shit about how fucking strong we are, the strongest nation in the world. Yeah, because why? Because we have a military, or because of our spirit? Because of the American spirit. We've never reached our promised capacity. We've always hurt other people. We've always damaged other people. But now is the time. We're in the 21st fucking century. We should learn our lessons by now. And I think that's probably what surprises most people when they say, this isn't America. No, this is America. It's just, this shouldn't be America. So, I believe in reparations for Native Americans and Black folks. I believe in all that shit. And I believe in marriage equality, and I believe in trans rights and all human rights and women's rights. So we have to fight, and we need folks that are allies that look like you and I, that are melanin deficient, to stand up, because white supremacy will not end in this country until white people destroy it, because it was created by white people. White supremacy was created by white people. Slavery is not Black history. Slavery is white history. The emancipation is Black history. Those folks that fought for their freedom, put everything on the line. Those that stood on that bridge and marched and got beaten, like John Lewis and Martin Luther King, all those folks deserve hero status. And we should be taking lessons from them instead of being so afraid all the time and looking at our screens and all that shit. Like, where do you want this to go? How do you think it's going to end if we don't start standing up and speaking out and doing what we said? I mean, hell, I wrote a whole fucking song about it. Stand up, speak out, strike back. Y'all want a political song?
Yes.
You want a political fucking song? It's right there. Rise, rebel, resist. How about that? All right, y'all.
History is written in invisible ink. That's, for me, essentially saying, though, how history repeats itself.
Indeed.
We're still going to let this continue. Like, we need to change our history. Otherwise, we are doomed to continue to repeat it.
But we need to change our present, or we're doomed to repeat the. I understand what you're saying, yeah, but we have to start making a stand. We have to also understand that the civil rights and segregation, Jim Crow laws, that wasn't that long ago. People are still alive that lived through that. And, so again, I'm calling on warriors. I'm calling on shadow soldiers. I'm calling on my real ones. I'm calling on all disruptors to take to them streets, to take to the polling booths, to get out, to be active, to join other groups, to find your community. Whether you live in a red state or you live in a blue state, find your people that believe the same way you do, and make sure that you are present, you are involved, and you are informed, and you are there to make sure that this disease does not continue to spread. All right. Thanks, B. This is our first episode. It's a little rough, but hey, we're going to get the hang of it eventually. I appreciate everybody for listening. Please subscribe. Until next time, take care of yourselves and take care of each other.